Hi, Pink Girly here. It's about 9 o'clock on Sunday evening, and I thought I would just pop on and get this video out of the way. I have a busy week ahead of me, and I thought I'd get this project underway this evening and record, and we'll see how it goes. So what I want to make is pocket envelope journals. This is not my idea. I saw this first on G. Kerr's channel. I think that's how you say her name. It's G as in George, I as in Ida, and her last name is Kerr, Kerr. Or maybe you could say Carr. She's fabulous. She does wonderful things with paper, and I don't know if it's her idea, but that's where I first saw this. And so I've started I guess I'm following along with a group of gals who watch the Mary Altier on YouTube, and we're doing a jam journal a month, and this is my November journal, and I put together it this way, and it's not oh, that's right, I didn't do this one envelope style. So I made this little journal, and then for my December journal, I thought I'd get that put together and out of the way, and I decided to do the envelope journal. So that's what I have here. And it's 2 envelopes, and then I put some paper in the center. So this is the back where you wrap your front envelope around. I put a piece of Velcro, but you could put a magnet. You don't have to put anything and use a tie closure like I have on this one. And then when you open it up, you've got your pocket here, and you've got a pocket in the back cover. That's what G does. And then I added 2 additional pockets in the center. So that's what I wanted to show you, how I put this together with the 2 pockets, my signatures in, which you don't have to do that. You can hand stitch them in. And then she stitches around the envelope as well. So I wanted to make a couple of these to put in my Etsy shop and take to a few craft shows that I have scheduled. And so I wanted to get started on those. So earlier this evening, I put together a little video to show you how I would for my envelope journal. And I have everything sitting all over the place. So if I can remember where I put stuff, we'll be in good shape. So this is how this turned out. And all I did was just spray a mixture of acrylic, craft paint, and water on my work mat. I used my brayer to grunge up my paper rather than T-stick. Pages total. So that gives me 20 pages for this journal. And then I need to pick out paper for my center pocket. I have a hard time picking out paper. I love paper. So I went through my Christmas stash. I think I have more somewhere else too, but this is what I found. This is what I used in the journal I just showed you, and I really like this paper. I don't know if I want to use the same. So that's an option. Then I found this heavier cardstock. It's your craft color, and it's got all Christmas words on it, and that would also make nice pockets in the center. And I have some cards and cutouts that go along with this look that would work well. This is an option. This is 2-sided. Of course, when you make a pocket, you're not going to see the inside. This would work. And then, of course, music paper. That always works. Oh, I love this paper. And the brown would work. But if I fold this way to make my pocket, my joy would be upside down. So to get my joy to be, well, that would be on the inside. So that's not going to work. So that's out of the running. You got to think about those things, right? This is one of my favorite Christmas papers, and it's discontinued. It's called Figgy Pudding. I gotten it at a scrapbooking convention. Oh gosh, several years ago. This is 2009. I think it was old when I got it, because it was, discounted then. But I love this paper. I think this is my last piece, so I'm not sure I want to use that. Of course, if I don't use it, I don't know what I'll do with it. It's not like, I'm a hoarder. And I think I have the same problem with this as I do with the one with the word joy. Like, this is kind of cool. But once I make my pocket, this would be upside down. So that's out. I mean, we could get around that. I could cut it and glue it, and I don't know if I want to go through that. And I like this with the red around the edges. So that might work. And with this kind of paper, this is a Graphic 45, which is my all-time favorite paper company, at least so far. And of course, some of the words would be upside down, but with this kind of a layout, I don't know that it would matter that much, but not sure I want to use this either. So there are some of my options. More to think about. So to get started, I'm using 2 envelopes, if I can find them, and I grunged these up the same way I did my paper. And these envelopes measure 5, it looks like 5 3/8 by 7 3/8. And I want my flaps out to the outside. Okay. And G recommends that you put a piece of paper, or you can put material, tape down the center. Stitch my pocket in down the center, and then I want to put my 2 signatures next to it. And I was thinking about this time trying to put fold lines, because my pocket will fit down the center. But if I put fold lines here, I think it would be easier for me to stitch in my signatures. But I'm not sure if that's going to work. So I'm just going to try it. Now we have the growling dog sitting right behind me. All right, so I'm going to come in and I'm going to score the bottom of my envelope. Let me fold this flap in. Doesn't make it much better. I think I'm going to do 3/8. When I stitch on paper, I always tend to stitch the wrong way. And if you stitch the right way, so the stitches look great from the outside, the trouble with that is you're kind of sewing blindly. So I'm going to score this the same. And then I picked out some material strips that I picked up. I think they might all be Tim Holtz. I'm not sure. I don't think they all are. Some of them are probably a generic. So I've got this floral print on it. I've got gray with some French lettering, which I love. Of course, this red, muted red plaid would certainly work. More lettering, but in white with white background. And then I've got this. It's also got some script on it and keys. It is. You put your two pieces together like this, and you take your paper or your material. And glue it down like that. I think I'm going to go with the red. So again, I just eyeball things for the most part because eye and rulers don't really see eye to eye. Now on the one I made a couple of days ago, I wrapped my material differently. I laid the material this way, put my book cover on top, and glued it down this way, and then I could have these tails. And then I cut the material and made like a little tassel at the bottom, which I like, but I'm not going to do that on this one, just for something different. So I need 2 strips of this, front and back. And the other thing that I like to do is I'm not crazy about this little flap of this envelope that I'm using. So I like to cut that off. Now I've got to remember what order I want to do things. It's off now. Because I want to be able to stitch along both sides of my spine. Oh, I was going to look to see if there was a way for me to pause this video. When I go to the sewing machine, my sewing machine is set up, but it's across the room. There's really no way for me to get it under this camera. You can do this with any size envelope. I have a couple small envelopes pulled aside, and I'm going to make a smaller one as well. All right, so I think what I want to do is put my glue, and I'm using Beak all the way out, a little on the wide side. Oh no, I'll hit the material, but I want to hit that fold, and I'm doing the back side so I can see where I'm gluing it. down. Like that. And then I'm going to meet it up on the other side here. Now Fabri-Tac adheres fairly quickly. So I'm just pressing that down. Probably could use my brayer to give it a good press. And then when I get that second piece on, I'm going to trim off these outside edges because I want to be able to stitch down my spine on both sides and stitch my center pocket in. But then I want to be able to have my pocket work correctly and not, not make my pocket smaller. I don't know if that makes sense. So now I'm going to come back with the glue again, and then I'm going to glue this on top. I hope my fold lines still work after I stick all this glue on here. So I really need to decide about the pocket on the inside. Now, if I didn't get these edges down, they are going to be stitched, so that's not so much of a big deal, but if you want, you can add more glue. And then I'd like to have a little cutout here on my pockets with the envelope. So I see if I can make this work. I've been having trouble with some of my punches. Yeah, I got a little bit of a stickiness here from the Fabri-Tac. Let me just wipe that up. Let me see if I can scoop this under. Yeah. So I'm just going to take off a little. See that. I'm just eyeballing it. I'll hold this so you can see it well. A little bit. It's not completely centered, but I'm not going to make myself crazy about that either. Okay, I like that. I still want this to dry a little bit more. Now I also want some kind of paper inside my pocket to give a little design there. And not sure what I want to use. I have this really nice paper left over from Graphic 45. Let's see, I think this was 2017. I love this paper too. That's kind of nice. That's got, looks like partridges and a pear tree. See, they have beautiful paper on one side, and then they've got these really neat cards on the other side, and oh, it's hard for me to give up that paper. I don't know if I have enough to slip in these ends. I should. So you just have to decide what you're going to sacrifice. Isn't that terrible? That's kind of cool too. All right, so I want it to be able to slide into the pocket and trim it. So I think if I cut it on this line, so if I cut right halfway through here, and I want that to go down, and then cut it there as well. I got this great big cutter that I got to bring up on my desk here. I wanted a small cutter. I can't find the one I like, but it was an AC Moore, and this was on clearance, so I got it. So I'm tired of buying blades for my other trimmer. So cut that there. And then to slip in the pocket, the envelope measured 7 and I think 3/8 we said. So I can always trim more off. I'm going to go here. Just need a little smidge more. So I'm going to go with 7 1/8. And then I'll do the same with the other. And of course I like to ink my edges, so I'll do that when I get this cut. Could have been a little more generous, I think. I think that's okay. So I'm going to use my Tim Holtz Vintage Photo, which I love. Just ink my edges a little. You can do as much or as little of this as you like, or none at all. But I really like it. I don't need to do the bottom because that's going to be tucked under the envelope. So then I'm going to bring my glue and glue around. I wonder if I like this side better. Oh, I don't know. I think I like the other side better. Of course, I could do both sides different, but I probably won't. I certainly like this side inked better because you can see the pattern better. Oh, yeah, I like that. Okay, let's go with that side. And then anytime you're using any kind of paper or material that's patterned, make sure your patterns go in the direction. want to do is score this in advance because I want to glue this down. I want to score it there. And this is going to be stitched as well. But I want to pre-score this so that when I glue it, it goes a little easier for me than last time. I had it buckled a little bit. I'll just hope that works. All right, so I have make sure I'm going the right way. All right, so I'm just going to put glue around the edge. Thin bead, thin bead. And then I'll just fill in the center with a little bit here and there. Line it up. Rub it down. It still didn't glue in as nice as I'd like it to. Not sure why I'm having trouble there. Make sure my birds and my deers are going the right way. And I'll add my glue here. Same as the other side. I was going through some of my older stash of Christmas paper. I've got some really cool pictures and cards. So I want to use those. And I got glue on my, I always wipe that on my, that's not good. Help me with that there. All right. So this is what we have so far. And I wanted to see if I could get these fold lines in that I pre-folded before I put that cloth backing on. Enough for me to see. I think I'm working a little harder than I have to. Forget to use my bone folder. Say you need to go lay down. All All right, now I'm going to trim these edges. I guess I could have wait to glue these in when I trimmed off these edges, and I wouldn't have had to fuss with that pocket. Didn't think of that. Duh. Because I want to open this up so that I can stitch along here without stitching the pocket shut, because that will make my pocket smaller. And you may not mind that. That might be fine too. But I'm going to take a little bit off my edges, just a very little bit. Mostly because this is how G made hers. Hers are so pretty. She's really got a knack for decorating her things. The lace, she likes to use lace, and she inks her edges, and her lace is beautiful, and the paper she picks, she's so good. Okay, my materials give me a little bit of an issue. I'll flip that over and trim just the smallest little smidge off this side. Oh, that worked better. Woo! Sorry. Whacked it right into the camera. Okay, so now I have this. I'm going to trim around my flap here. I might do my corner punch there. I didn't line this up quite right. Next time I'm going to open my pockets first and then glue this in. Make it easy on myself. I don't know why I haven't thought of that before. All right. Of course, that's going to be stitched as well, so it's not that big of a concern. I have all my scraps attaching themselves to my arms. Let's see, where is my... Okay, I think I'm going to do a 1/4 inch corners. On my envelope flap. I'll tell you what, I have a hard time getting it to work. I don't know whether it's because I don't have much strength in my hand, or whether it's just not as good as I thought it would be. I have to flip it over and do both sides. The full well could be me. Okay, that looks better. So ideally, this is going to be the signature on each side there, and then my pocket down the center. So now I have to really decide what I'm going to put on the inside my pocket for my pocket. think I want to go with either this or the music paper. If I can find where I put the music paper. I think I'm going to go with the music paper, just so it'll be different than my other book. That's going to need to be trimmed as well, and of course folded. So I'm going to squirt just down the center. So that's at 6 inches. And you squirt on both sides. So that'll be too big. I think I only wanted to come to there. I'll put a little mark both ends. And that measures just a little over 8 inches. And I don't care if one's a little longer than the other. So I'm going to just score it 4 inches. Okay, so that's going to go in my center pocket like that. At 8 inches. If I cleaned up my workspace, I probably would have room for all this jazz to just sit next to me instead of having to put everything aside. And I'm going to punch 2 little divots out of this as well. One on this side. One on this side. I hope I haven't lost you. And this is making sense. Overage there. Because when you fold it, it's not going to be perfect. And I'm coming in pretty deep on this inking to take a lot of that starkness of that white paper away. See, this is really off here. I'll trim that a little bit. When you flatten it out, it's not as off. And because this is in double-sided paper, behind it here, behind that little divot, it will be white. So I always try to remember to put a little bit of inked color behind there. Get the little divot part. Loose, you're going to have to wait. They were just out. Make sure you don't forget a corner or a side. And get everything inked the way you want it. That looks pretty cool. So that's going to get stitched in there. So I'm going to run a little bead of glue here down this side to make my pocket. Put that up on my keyboard. Loose. All right, let me see if there's a way I can pause my video. Haven't done this before. I don't see it there. I know I can turn my mic off. There should be a way. Well, I'm not seeing it. What I'm going to do is let the dogs out. Oh, stuck that to my paper. And then I'm going to stitch down both sides of my spine on this material here. And then I'm going to put that back together. I'm going to stitch my pocket in. That didn't, not lay as flat as I would like that to lay. And then I'm going to stitch around the whole piece. And I'm going to stitch it from the outside, from this side, because this is where, if I stitch it the other way, I'm going to this to be my top side, so I kind of have to stitch blind. And then I'm going to stitch down both sides of the spine here before I stitch all the way around. Hope that makes sense. So that's going to take a few minutes, and then I need to also stitch in my signatures. So it's going to look like this. Okay. So I'm going to end this video. I'm going to go do my stitching, and then I'll come back and show you what I did. And then I'm going to decorate the outside cover, and then hopefully finish this up. Okay. It'll be too long. And we'll finish up this pocket, this envelope journal. Okay, thanks. See you soon.